With free agency opening on Tuesday and the show running pretty long today on Monday, we figured why not just throw a little bonus content at you to do a little free agency preview and talk about what Danny has left on his to-do list this offseason. It's funny, like, okay, what's he got left? Not like the new league year starts 23 hours. Yeah. Like, he still has a few things left to do, and it hasn't actually started yet. But Charlie, let's talk really, I think, about the goaltending position, because that's the thing we discussed a little bit on Saturday's show, that they didn't draft any. It's not as if like drafting a goalie this year would have helped you, in your next couple of seasons where it's Sam Ersson and who until the other guys are NHL ready. You look at the free agent list, the potential signings for Danny Briere, like, all right, let's just go get a guy. It doesn't cost us any assets except money. Who can they just sign? It's not all that inspiring.
Yeah, not really.
Sorting by games played. Jake Allen, 31 with a .908 save percentage. Anton Forsberg, 30 games, .901. Those are your 900 or better goalies on the free agent market. You go Alex Lyon, 30 games, .896. I mean, .896 around league average blows away anything any Flyer did. Yeah. But maybe you're looking for a little bit more there. And Dan Vladar, 29 games, .895. Ilya Samsonov, 29 games, .890. James Reimer, 24 games, .897. And then Vitek Vanacek, who was basically Ivan Fedotov.
But by the same token, goalies are weird in the sense that you can have a guy like Darcy Kemper, who was given away in essentially a salary dump for salary dump deal, and then he gets nominated for the Vezina this year with LA. So I would be hesitant to just look at a guy and be like, oh, he had a .980 save percentage this past year, he's bad. There are guys on this list that, yes, Ilya Samsonov didn't have a good year last year. He's had good years before. He could be a guy who bounces back. Alex Lyon, .896, not the best, but it's basically league average. It's better than what the Flyers had this year.
That saved, as long as it doesn't cost you like a long-term contract or anything, I have no problem bringing in Alex Lyon for a couple of years. Again, .896 is way better than anything a Flyer has put up the last couple of years, honestly. So I am not totally down on the idea of Alex Lyon still. But if it's not Jake Allen, I'd probably prefer Dan Vladar, not terrible. But again, like we're talking about guys who play 29, 30 games. I am looking more for somebody who can share the workload with Samuel Ersson, because I think there's still something there with Sam. But I think I've seen enough to know if he plays 3+ times a week, he don't got it. And when he plays less than that, he's actually pretty damn good. So I'm going to put him in that position to be the best he can be.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think selfishly, from my perspective, I'm maybe rooting for Alex Lyon because he's such a good dude. I loved covering him. One of my favorite players I've ever covered since I become a full-time beat writer. And while this past year had a .986, the year before he started 43 games for Detroit and had a .904. So you could make a case that he has shown in the past that he can deliver solid enough results in what functionally was a timeshare workload. Yeah. You could justify that. Samsonov has been a starter-ish. He's played 40-ish games multiple years. Now it's been a couple years since he's been legitimately very good, but he's only 27 going on 28. So, he is 28 now. Yeah. So the age is in realm of like, okay, well, he's not totally cooked. Jake Allen is probably the safest in that he's coming off of a good year and everybody knows that he can take a workload. Now, I know he's had some injury problems, but he's also taken big workloads. He's also older, and it seems like he's going to cost the most.
He's going to cost the most. And honestly, after the year he just had, do you want to go 3-4 years at a decent number? Maybe it's not huge money, but it'll be decent money for a 34, 35-year-old goaltender. Is that really something that Danny Briere is all that interested in doing when you talk about, okay, they have all this space opening up. They're going to have these spots opening up. Do you want to dedicate years and dollars to you got to believe, diminishing player at some point at 34, 35 years old?
I would deal with the dollars. It's more the term for me. Like the idea of giving a goalie or trading for a goalie who has 5-6 years on a deal, that's not attractive to me. I want to retain flexibility at that position. I want to get a guy who is, at absolute most 4 years, but I really don't want to go over 3. I want to get a guy who you feel pretty confident can take, 30 to 45 games and not be terrible in those games. I'm not necessarily looking for a star, but I'm looking for a guy who you can pair with Ersson. Number one, because I just feel like the team deserves confidence in passable goaltending. And number two, I think Ersson deserves some support because I want to see what Ersson can do when not being asked to shoulder the entire load. I think he could put up legitimately good numbers in a 1B backup type role. It's just the last 2 years he hasn't been allowed to do that because what else do they have?
No, if he is playing 35, maybe 40 games, I think he'll be very good in that role. I just think I've seen enough that when he is, it's odd when he's not the starter in that situation, he just isn't able to keep his play consistent enough. I think he's kind of shown that. Maybe he can grow into it with a little more time, but for right now, if the idea is for the team to be considerably better than the team that was the 4th worst in hockey last year, they have to upgrade this position and not just replace Fedotov, but get someone who can take away a few starts from Ersson as well.
I'd agree.
If it's not a free agent option, there are some trade options. Now we're hearing
not that many left.
No, but not many. John Gibson comes off the board. He goes to Detroit. It appears as if Thatcher Demko will be re-signing in Vancouver, which is kind of interesting just because they already have Lankinen for, I think, until 2030 at like $4.5 million. So, and right now Demko is making $5 million. So we'll see how that goes. My option, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in Buffalo, a viable one. And was it Joel Hofer? He's a restricted free agent in St. Louis.
He did resign. So I don't think he's an option. Certainly not an option as an offer sheet.
Yes.
One guy who's intriguing to me is Artur Silovs from Vancouver, especially if Vancouver, as rumored, does re-sign Demko and they get him to an extension. They signed Kevin Lankinen last year. Silovs has shown potential. He's done very well in the AHL. He's done pretty well when he's had his opportunities in the NHL. Now,
he was big for them when Demko was hurt last year and going into the playoffs.
Yes. Now, that is a bit of a risk, to be sure, because he hasn't really proven it. But Silovs is interesting in that he's youngish and there's some upside there. And maybe you could get a guy who can play the minutes and get the games because he's young and also could maybe have some upside. So he's intriguing to me. I don't know how much he would cost, but he's intriguing to me if indeed Vancouver locks down Demko.
All right. There are a ton of options at goalie. I still love the idea of UPL, but I don't think Silovs in Vancouver is a bad risk-reward kind of option.
I would be fine with UPL.
I
if
think
he's legitimately available, I'd be fine with
and listen, it's Buffalo. You never know what the hell they're thinking. But if he is legitimately available and the cost isn't like a first-round pick or something, because that would be nuts. I'm very much in on these trade options, probably more so than anybody but Lyon or Allen as a free agent. And then again, it's, okay, what is this going to cost you for not a premier goalie here? We're talking as free agent, just like there's only so many available and there's only so much goaltending in this league. My God, I think we might see, just as a total side note, like when this league expands to 34 and then probably up to 40 teams is my guess. We're going to get to like 40 at some point. The big jump is going to be in goalie pay because there's just going to be none. It's going to be like starting pitching where there's like 9 guys who give you consistently more than 5 innings. Like there's only so many number one goalies. Like obviously, like we said on the main show, oh, well, there's 32 one season this league. Because no, that's not the way it is though. Like that's not actually. And with goaltending, like we're talking about Alex Lyon as one of these guys. Like, oh yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like, yeah, he's fine. Like he's
but
fine.
You also have to remember that league average save percentage now is 900.
900, yes. No, he's totally fine, and we're talking about Alex Lyon as one of the best free agent options. Yeah, and he's just completely fine. What happens when there's 34, 36 teams? Yeah. Like people are going to be dying for goaltending. Maybe that's who the hell, I can't remember the other Russian we had all year who stunk. Kolosov. Maybe that's his plan. I'm an NHL goalie when there's 40 teams in the league. All right. With the UFA skaters, Charlie, I don't think, and we've pretty much been told, now listen, Danny Briere might pull some magic, might have a big surprise up his sleeve. I really want Aaron Ekblad. I don't think it's going to happen.
I would not hold your breath.
I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just telling you what I want because I want stuff. I think it's fun when they do things.
Okay.
But it's probably not going to be what they do.
I do not think they're going to
do you think there's anyone like of the higher, like after the higher end guys, maybe? I've heard Pius Suter, like maybe.
Pius Suter.
No.
Pius Suter.
Absolutely
it's
not.
Pius Suter.
No. Refuse.
Refuse
to say
Pius Suter is interesting to me because number one,
he's
he's coming out of Vancouver.
Yeah.
He was a Taka guy in Vancouver, has really good underlying metrics. He's smallish, he's not huge, and he doesn't have the best tools, but he's a very smart player. And he's a center. So if the Flyers do indeed want to beef up their center depth in the short term while they're waiting for these guys to come along, the Luchenkos, the Nesbitts, the Berglunds, and they want to have some insurance in case Zegras can't stick down the middle, Pius Suter is intriguing to me as a potential option. He wouldn't, I don't think he's going to come cheap, but I also don't think he's going to break the bank in terms of term and AAV.
I'm just wondering, like maybe as a replacement for Ryan Poehling, Jack Roslovic, if they don't go the internal route.
Joe Veleno got bought out today. He could be a potential 4C option. He brings some speed to the table as a bottom six center, so he's a potential option if they want to go the Poehling reclamation project type route.
Interesting. And I don't know, a lot of people just really liked Andrei Kuzmenko. I don't know how interested they are in bringing him back, but a lot of people liked him.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's just they just seem to be so set at wing. I think it would be fun, but I just don't really see how he fits the timeline or what they have depth chart-wise.
I did not get the sense that the Flyers, when they moved him, I did not get the sense that this was hey, well, maybe we can get him back in free agency. This was like thanks for your service, bye.
Nice couple of weeks there. It was fun. Any D-man, I, again, want Ekblad, but any D-man really, tickle your fancy? I just don't really see a ton, and most of the UFA D-men are 34 years old.
I think that if they go for a D-man, it's going to be in the Erik Johnson mold of let's get a 7 who can be the veteran guy in the room type. There are a few guys out there like that. Brendan Smith is one. So there are some guys who maybe you could slot in as your 7, but that's the kind of situation where you'd have to talk with him and you'd have to see if he's okay with being a 30, 35 game guy, because I think the Flyers are, rightfully so, focused on giving their young defensemen a lot of runway and a lot of games to develop and find out who they are. But I'm not expecting them to go out and sign a big name guy. Again, Aaron Ekblad, keep dreaming, bud. Again, feel free.
Anything can happen, Charlie. All things in life are 50-50. They're either going to sign him or they're not.
They're happen or they don't. But I could see them going out and getting an older vet guy to be the Erik Johnson, Mark Stahl type.
Could it be Jack Johnson?
Did he
retire? Yeah, I think
he retired.
I think he's
finally
on the UFA list, but I didn't see if he actually
finally
intends to play next year.
Yeah.
Listen, it's Jack Johnson. It would be fun. Has he played for all 32 teams yet?
He's probably getting there.
So the last thing here, real quick, what's left on Danny's to-do list? Well, York and Peltier remain unsigned as least of Monday at 1:30. They're going to get QOs. In all likelihood.
I mean, York is definitely getting a qualifying offer.
He's getting a qualifying offer.
I would think that Peltier gets a qualifying offer. I guess it's theoretically plausible that they let him go, but my assumption is he's going to get a qualifying offer and he'll stick around for at least a year. Kevin Kurz of The Athletic reported yesterday that he's heard that they've been making progress on a York extension. I never thought there was a chance of him getting an offer sheet. They just traded for one of his best buds. One of his other best buds is on the team. They fired the coach who hated him. The York
coach who hated him.
The York and Tippett trade chatter is entirely driven by bored online fans who want the Flyers to do stuff and are annoyed with how they played last year.
Yeah, me. Yeah. I want those things to happen. Yeah. So, I'm going to keep saying they're going to until they don't. They are signed to extensions.
But there's no actual chatter about those guys getting moved. Beyond, we're open to it if you give us a really good offer.
Yeah, hey, if there's some trade that makes sense and Owen Tippett, you want him, all right, but we better be getting something we really need,
or something we really want.
Exactly. So we'll see. But I got to believe York, the extension happens, the QO happens, whatever. And Peltier, I don't see why they wouldn't qualify him, but who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find that out.
We'll find out in 24 hours.
Yeah, by the end of June 30th. So depending upon when you're watching this little mini pod,
you might already know. You might already know the answer to the question. But that's pretty much it. That's it for the shootout. That's what I like to call these things.
The shootout.
Sure, that's really lasted. They always ask, like, oh, do you have like the recurring themes? I'm like, no, because I always forget to do them. And then we never have any recurring bits other than like me mispronouncing stuff. If you want to sponsor that, feel free. Call our management. All right. That is all the time we have for you. My name is Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Be excellent to each other.